What simple daily interaction unexpectedly made your day and why? I get pretty nervous when talking to people, which doesn't help that I work in retail. But I had a good experience with a guy who was younger than my dad but had a daughter in college. We talked about me in college and his daughter in college, and it was just a nice experience. There was also a woman who kept running into me for help at my job, and we got to talking about our husbands and complaining like on TV. And that made me smile. I think about it every time I see her in the store. I don't even know their names, but the conversation was great. I work security at a retail store. I clock in and go outside to do a vehicle inspection. When I see some dude tearing across the parking lot on a four-wheeler, I get in the patrol vehicle prepared to get into an argument and possibly call the police. I talk to the gentleman firmly, but respectfully. He's understanding, puts the four-wheeler in his trailer, and leaves the parking lot. Sometimes inconsiderate people aren't mean or rude. They're just people who need the occasional reminder to consider the consequences of their actions. A bit taken aback, but went with it. Made a pink drink, threw some whipped cream on top, handed it to him and said, "Tell her it's from a secret admirer." His face lit up, and he ran off to give it to her. She came back to thank me later. Said it was the first time she smiled in weeks since they had a rough time. Made my whole week, not just my day. I only just started reading books this year as a hobby, and felt a bit embarrassed that the ones that I really love are Junji Ito's manga horror stories. IDK. I guess I feel like reading manga isn't the same as reading. Anyway, this black flight attendant and blacked asked me what I was reading, and then took it down because she liked manga and horror too. It felt nice to feel validated by someone in my community, and see someone who likes the same thing. At the mall coming up the escalators there was an older gentleman, maybe early 80s, asking where is the elevator to go downstairs. I told him it's kind of far, and he should just use the escalators, and he told me he was afraid to use it. I grabbed his hand and asked if he'd go W me, and he said he'd love to. When he joined me going down, he asked how my day was and then thanked me for taking him down. It makes my day just thinking about it. I recently experienced watching a loved one pass away after removing life support. Sidebar, and I got home to my roommates made me a cake that my mum used to make growing up, funfetti, and my dog, who normally sleeps at my feet, slept on my pillow with me licking my tears before bed. My friend has a business, and we were walking in the St. Patrick's Day parade with him. While everyone was lined up and waiting to start, some organizer was stopping by each group. After pleasantries, she said, upon leaving, "Have a nice parade." And I'm pretty sure that's the only time I'll ever hear that. I work retail, and I helped this older woman bring some heavy items to her vehicle. Among her grocery items was a container of cookies from our bakery, and she insisted I have one. It was so good, and the kindness in the offer was as sweet as the cookie itself. I was checking out at the grocery store, and the cashier asked how I was doing. I said I'm doing well. They were impressed that I said well instead of good. This was years ago, but it still makes me smile if I think about it. A sweet old lady looked over at me and said, "Sir, could you help me lift this litter when you have a sec? I'm trans, FTM." So hearing that made me so unbelievably happy. She said thank you and have a good day after. I went to pay for some deaf in my dirty high waist, and the clerk girl said I looked bright. Took me an hour to figure she probably just meant my high waist, but I'm living on that cloud till the day I die. The cashier at the grocery store made my day by greeting me warmly and asking how I was doing. Even though it was a small action, it had a big impact on my mood and made me feel appreciated. Not just one, but I love when I take my toddler to the store and we get non-stop smiles from random strangers. It makes my day seeing others, usually the elderly, light up about my kid successfully making small talk with some stranger. Fuck yeah. I socialized. Time to go home and spend the rest of the day on Reddit. How are things going with you? I have been considering you. Although that may not seem like a compliment, I perceive it that way. Going on a walk past the same old couple twice. Second time around. Old man goes, enjoy the rest of your walk. I was at the park and saw some turtles lined up on a log in the lake. They were staring up at me. It was adorable.